Should not be based solely on advertising.
This is the Gashouse Gang on your home of the St. Louis Cardinals. 1120 AM, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Give back Yappy. Yappy makes room, takes a shot. Oh, what a save from Roman Berkey. Diving to his right. Unbelievable effort from Roman.
Arenado swings and he drives that deep left center field to the track, the wall. It's a gunner, putting the Cardinals in front. Arenado with his 6th home run of the year.
Well, Tom, City SC made a move. They have let go of Olaf Melberg. The Cardinals are trying, and they will tonight, hopefully tonight, they will win the series against the Baltimore Orioles. Looks like there's some lousy weather in the Baltimore area, so I guess the game, we'll see. It might be dicey. They might make it up tomorrow. But at any rate, the Cardinals have an opportunity to take 2 of 3 from a struggling Orioles team. Tom Ackerman, Chris Ranji on the Gashouse Gang, brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, SaligaHeatingandCooling.com. Now, we're going to get into the City SC firing. We will talk to Taylor Twellman today.
We will. Taylor Twellman, Apple TV, St. Louisan, one of the great players in MLS history. He's going to be with us, and he will pull no punches. So he'll tell it like it is, whether he's supportive of some aspects of the organization, which he is, and whether he's critical of some, which he is. So he'll get right down to it. He does not mince words. So I would make it appointment radio at 12:30 to hear what Taylor has to say. And I have to imagine that some folks over at the club will also want to hear what Taylor has to say today.
Well, it really comes down to this. At some point, City is going to have to, and I guess they did in the first season by being a playoff team and, being the best team in the conference in your inaugural year. That's a reward. But you got to go beyond that. They're going to have to do that for a fan base that comes out and spends a lot of money. At some point, they're going to have to reward the people who support them.
Absolutely. How quickly things change. I mean, I think City was the darling of St. Louis, and I think they still are in a lot of ways. Their stadium's fantastic. Their fans are fantastic. It's a great product, the sport of soccer. But if you don't win, changes will be made, and the Cardinals are winning. I mean, they've won 17 of 22.
Mm-hmm.
I think the crowds are going to start coming back. You could feel it Memorial Day weekend, which is historically a good weekend for them. Still shy of what they normally do on a Memorial Day weekend, but there was an edge to the crowd, a fun edge to the crowd where they were getting a little rambunctious. And then on Sunday, when Arenado did what he did and came back, they gave him a big, strong ovation. Who knows? I mean, the Cardinals are on fire right now. They just beat up not a good Orioles team by any stretch. The Orioles are on pace for 105 losses, and they've given up 86 home runs this season already. Mm-hmm. That is easily the most in Major League Baseball, and the Cardinals bashed a couple more yesterday with Newt getting well. You want to get well against the Orioles. Nolan Arenado hit a home run, and that was, the day after they only had 4 hits against Charlie Morton, who was 0-7. It's just sort of an odd day for them. The Cardinals are winning because they pitch well. How about this number on the Cardinals right now? The Cardinals have won 17 of 22. Their team ERA is 2.82 during that stretch of 22 games. Only the Twins have a better team ERA, 2.70. How about this? Since April 23rd, 6 starts since April 23rd, this pitcher has a 1.34 ERA. Anybody want to take a guess who that is?
Since September 23rd?
Since April 23rd.
April 23rd.
In 6 starts, a 1.34 ERA. His name is Miles Michaelis.
Starting tonight.
Isn't that unbelievable?
Yeah.
I mean, that is just incredible stuff. He has looked fantastic. And the Cardinals right now, they're playing a team from the AL East that is very disappointing. But they're on the road, and you got to take care of business. Now, the weather is a little treacherous for tonight. It has been raining in Baltimore, and it's expected to rain all day. So if they don't get this one in today, we may have one tomorrow. We'll keep you in touch on that situation.
I love the way everything is going now, Tom. It's just I think there's just a little part of me that's always like, what's going to happen next, right? And I know I can't help it. I'm trying not to do that. They have been pitching so well. Michaelis has been pitching so well. But I would be, I think I'd be lying if I said I wasn't at least a little concerned about what the next 2-3 months for him are going to look like.
For Miles?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the fact of the matter is the Cardinals are going to go into a slump at some point.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to lose 17 of 22, though. I just don't see it. I think this team right now, as elite as they are defensively, and they have some good pieces in their offense, and they, knock on wood, have been healthy. I think the rotation's good enough, and they have depth now that I don't see them going into any sort of a tailspin. I mean, if they were to lose some games, they'll lose them here and there, but I may eat my words on this, but I think the Cardinals are going to be in this division race for a while. They have a good-looking team that has the pieces that you want, the bullpen, the rotation, the offense, the defense. The bullpen has had some blips this year, but for the most part, they've been able, since they realigned everything, they've been able to hold very well. Helsley looked dynamite last night. He's back to being what he was supposed to be. Everything was working for him. So, yeah, it's very nice, and I understand what you're saying. I go the other way. I can't wait to see what they do next. I want to know what sort of entertainment am I going to have today. I know that this team is not a super team. I know that this team probably doesn't walk in there and blow people out 12-0. They're probably going to play exactly what they did yesterday. 3-0 lead, blow it, come back, win it. They're just a roller coaster type team. That can be frustrating. I have chosen this year to make it fun and watch the players go through the highs and lows, and I've enjoyed this season immensely.
No, the season up until this point has been, it's really hard to be upset looking back at, taking a 10,000-foot view of it. It's hard to do that. I mean, they've been in every game, with the exception of a couple. They have given themselves an opportunity to win late more often than not, and a lot of times they have actually come through and done that, right? They have actually, like they did last night. They blew the lead, came back, and took it back. Again, bad team in Baltimore, but that's what you're supposed to do. They did exactly what you're supposed to do against an Orioles team and that lousy bullpen. You get to it, and you win. So it is, you really can't, if you look at the full picture of what the season has been through May 28th, there's really not much to be upset about here.
Yeah, and I think it's okay to have fun with them, and it doesn't mean that you're going soft on them when you say that. It means that you're just enjoying the ride and taking it for what it is. If this team was picked to go win the National League or be a serious World Series contender, and they play a game like yesterday where they play with fire a little bit, or one of those games against the Diamondbacks, the Saturday game where they gave up the late runs and then came back and won, you would say, because I know I've been there, I would say, well, they're not, if they want to go win the World Series, they can't play like that.
Can't do stuff like that.
I mean, you got it right. Not this team. No one said this team's going to go win the World Series. They might go to the playoffs, but everybody just kind of looked at this team and said, hey, transition year, going to be fun to watch players develop. And lo and behold, look at this. I mean, they're a season high 7 games over 500. They're on the verge of winning yet another series on the road. And then, they're going to have a fun homestand coming up on June 3rd. Royals, Dodgers, Blue Jays. That has the potential to be a lot of fun. And of course, we're all sort of champing at the bit. June 23rd, the Cubs come to town. That's the real barometer there. That's the real test to see if they can get this thing done and make a run in the Central.
Yeah, because that team is not losing. And granted, they're not playing as good a talent as the Cardinals have been playing, but they keep finding ways to win too. So even with all the winning the Cardinals have done, I mean, they're still 3 games back. Look, we're not all the way through 2 months yet. We're going to be here in a couple of days, but I envision that the division is going to go like this for most of the year. It could be a thing where in September, the Cubs eventually pull away, but I think it's going to be a Cubs-Cardinals thing throughout most of this season. I really do.
Yeah.
Whether that is, they trade first place back and forth, or whether there's just a game or two deficit for much of the next few months, whichever team that is, I can envision that happening. I think this might actually be the year. And I hate to do this because I did this with Tom Brady toward the end of his career. I said, this is the year Tom Brady's no longer good. But I feel like this might actually be the year the Brewers are not. Maybe this is it. Maybe finally we've hit that point where Milwaukee is not there at the end of the year, despite the fact that we've written them off before the season even started. And oh, look, there they are winning the division or getting in as a wild card. They've been doing that a lot lately. Maybe this is it. Maybe this is actually the year. It's the Brewers are out.
I think the Brewers are possibly out, and I think the Reds are possibly in. I wouldn't write them off just yet. I think that if I were concerned about any team beyond Cubs Cardinals, it would be the Reds. I think that they have.
Yeah, they're still scoring more than they give up.
They have the manager to do it. They have young talent. They have some decent pitching. I think that they're an interesting team, and I get the vibe from them that they're not going away, that they have a good clubhouse, and not that the Brewers don't, but I heard Pat Murphy the other day say something like, oh, we didn't have really any additions this offseason. It was kind of excuse making, I thought. And they just played a Red Sox team pretty hard and really well, but the Red Sox are hampered, Bregman's out.
Brewers have that about to hit the wall feeling to me.
I do. I feel it.
Yeah.
And that was the team that you wanted to be, the team that was sort of in development, but succeeded the last couple of years. Like, how do the Brewers keep doing it? This is who the Cardinals want to be. I think the team and Zachary, I think, just nailed it here. I think the team that you want to try to be is what the Tigers were last year. The Tigers were fun.
Get to the playoffs.
Had a little
see
fire.
What happens.
Never know. Young players trying to make a name for themselves, and look where they are now. I mean, they're an excellent team this year. So it could be an interesting year, to say the least, and a very interesting trade deadline. Oh my gosh. Can you imagine? I mean, everybody was ready to sell off Helsley and Arenado and everybody else. Well, I mean, if you're in a division race with the Cubs, you're going to tell your fans that you're going to trade Ryan Helsley and throw the white flag. No chance.
You'd have to be blown away. Like, absolutely blown away. But I mean, I don't think you're going to get blown away by an offer.
No, you're going to get something nice, but he's a rental. He's a rental, so you're not going to get what you would if he was under control and under contract, and that's the whole point. They wouldn't deal him if he was under control and under contract. He's going to be a free agent. So, yeah, I'm John Mozeliak kind of laughed about it the last couple of weeks that I asked him. He just sort of giggled and said, "Hey, I'll take a complicated deadline. That's fine with me." And that meaning that means they're in the race on July 31st. And I think they like the sound of that. And I think he wants to go out a winner. I think Mozeliak wants to end his regime. And for those who don't know by now, because I hear from a lot of people who say, and it's fine, you protest, do what you want. I'll never tell fans what to do. But people are protesting the game because I'm not coming back until Mozeliak is gone. Well, he is. Like, he's in 5 months, he is going to be gone. He's physically there and he's doing the job, but they are moving. The transition is underway. So this is the end for Mozeliak. I think he probably, a little pride, wants to go out on a winning note, and they could give it a run. Now, does that mean they're major buyers of the deadline? No, they're not going to go throw down for some major piece, but they'll add a piece to make themselves interesting. The National League is still run by the Dodgers and the Phillies. Who the Cardinals took 4 out of 6 from. Yeah. The Mets.
Maybe the Mets. Yep.
And I think the Padres are still, they've got some thunder and they have some enthusiasm, but the Cardinals and Cubs could be players in the playoffs. You never know.
Giants will be.
Giants are good.
Yeah. So this is the way I look at this season because of the way it's gone in the first 2 months. And I'm taking all of the information into account. The supposed transitional year, the decreasing of payroll during the offseason intentionally is what they did because of the transition season. And then also knowing they can be competitive, and they have been so far. This will be one of those years where I totally accept the idea of make the playoffs and see what happens. Kind of like the Tigers. We'll see what happens. Make the playoffs. But usually I don't really like that philosophy for a team that says they're trying to win all the time. Like if we're 2018, we'll make the playoffs and see what happens. It's a crapshoot. Anything can happen. I don't like that philosophy. For this year, though, I think it makes a lot of sense.
It does. And quite honestly, it's how the Cardinals have been for a long time. Is they have said, let's just get in the tournament and see what happens.
It's not my favorite.
I don't like it either, but that's the way they've tried to operate because of their size, market, and revenue, even though they have a lot of money. And do fine. They're not at the level of some of these major markets. So I think the whole point is you want to get back to being that machine. You want to get back to taking over the National League Central. You are National League royalty. You're the St. Louis Cardinals. You should be the envy of everyone when it comes to who does the organization right, who has the best minor league system, who fills their positions and locks them up, and who takes that extra money for that one position that is still needing to be filled, and you sign the free agent or you make the big whopping trade for the big time star. That's who the Cardinals used to be, and that's what the fans expect, and that's what they want. They want no longer this, let's just get in. Now, in 06 and 11, they did just get in and they won it all, but the fans don't want that. Fans want, the fans want 04. 04 is going to be hard to replicate.
Sure.
But can you build to that being that powerhouse again? Yeah, it's possible.
It's one of those things where I think fans look at 06 and 11 and think, I'm glad that it worked out that way, but I don't want you to do it that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's great that it worked out, but don't make that your driving philosophy. Tell us what you think. 314-436-7900. Call or text, or if you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter, the Gashouse Gang, leave us a comment. You got a question, something you want to say? Let us know. Tom Ackerman, Chris Ranji, Taylor Twellman joins us at 12:30 on KMOX.
Feel like everything's clouded by doubt? Visit CaliforniaPsychics.com. Our psychics are available to talk 24/7, and we guarantee if it's not life-changing, it's free. Experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics.
Out here in the middle of these acres, it can feel like you're the only person on Earth. That's how it feels when you're struggling with your mental health. But you don't have to feel alone. Find more information at loveyourmindtoday.org. Brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated the best hearing aids of 2025 by Forbes Health, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, starting at just $98 a pair.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aids.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 1 million happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
Rhino Shield is engineered to outlast paint by a lot, backed with our 25-year transferable warranty. Paint a house, shield a home. We do brick, block, stucco, asbestos, steel, aluminum, cedar, and more. We are the only coating company selected by Disney, This Old House, and 3 times on HGTV's Curb Appeal, where all 3 episodes concentrate on unpainted brick. If you maintain or own a business with a tired-looking building, you owe it to yourself to look at Rhino Shield and our beautifully durable color schemes. Evaluations are free. We're making buildings pop and be noticed again, from Champaign to the Lake of the Ozarks, exceeding expectations every day with our products, people, and performance. Now is the time to call 877-25-RHINO, 877-25-RHINO, or go to 877-25rhino.com and see how honest and transparent we really are. Tell them, ladies.
Don't paint, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Career changers, including veterans and active duty service members. Your transition starts here. Go from GI to IT in a matter of months. Become a certified cyber warrior with training at My Computer Career. Cybersecurity specialists are in high demand, offering IT pros great opportunities and a rewarding lifestyle while protecting our people, liberty, and treasured institutions from cyber threats. Deploy your career in IT today. Learn more at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP. SkillBridge and other VA benefits are available to those who qualify.
Not available in all states. Rates vary. Building a financial safety net for your family can be tough, but with term life insurance through Ethos, you can have peace of mind that they can pay the mortgage and other bills if something happens to you. With coverage in as little as 10 minutes, all online, Ethos finds your best rate across their multiple trusted carriers. Some policies as low as $1 a day billed monthly. And even in uncertain times, your term life insurance rates and payout don't change. Get your free quote at ethos.com/life. That's ethos.com/life.
Mizzou football is here to stay. After an undefeated home season and a second straight 10-win year, the Tigers are looking for more in 2025.
Eli and the boys have done it again.
With a top 10 transfer portal class and a strong home schedule highlighted by Kansas, Alabama, South Carolina, and Texas A&M, you don't want to miss out. Get your spot in line by joining the season ticket waitlist at mutigers.com/FB waitlist. MIZ.
When we started Neovitin back in 2009, we wanted to create a multivitamin that we would take ourselves. That's why we use quality ingredients in our Neovitin Original Formula multivitamin. With over 20 vitamins and minerals, along with our physician-formulated proprietary blend, you can be sure you are getting the highest quality daily nutritional support. Give Neovitin Original Formula multivitamin a try for yourself. Find it at your local Schnucks, Dierbergs, and online at neovitin.com.
It's not too late for a deep spring cleaning on your home. Give my friends at Zero Res a call today. Get 3 rooms of carpet clean for only $129. Take $75 off your air duct cleaning. Visit ZeroResSTL.com and tell them that Dave Glover sent you.
Don't miss Mosby Building Arts Home Improvement Show, Saturdays from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. on KMOX. One of the last call-in shows where you can get live answers to your remodeling, design, and construction questions. Tune in Saturdays at 11 a.m.
You asked, we delivered. KMOX, now on FM. Crystal clear sound at 104.1 FM.
The pitch. Walker drives it to center field. That's hit back. And it's a go off the top of the wall. It's in play. Walker has 2. He's going for 3, and he's there safely. A triple that plates Barrero, and the Cardinals lead by 2.
Nobody, and I mean nobody on planet Earth had back-to-back triples from Nolan Gorman and Jordan Walker on their bingo card.
I almost bet. I almost did.
Yeah.
It was my prop.
You would have done really well on the Underdog app.
$1 million.
Yeah. Well, welcome back. That's Chris Ranji. I'm Tom Ackerman. This is the Gashouse Gang on KMOX. Let's take some phone calls as we discuss the Cardinals winning 17 of 22 and their current situation, how fans are feeling. Larry in Baldwin is on KMOX.
Yeah, hi, guys.
Hey.
You mentioned a while ago about the trade deadline and the Cardinals. I'm wondering, is this the year in which Mozeliak actually goes against what he has preached in the past? And then that is going after a short-term rental at the trade deadline, because obviously, you know, signing a guy who has several years left on his contract kind of blocks that development from within type of strategy. So, you know, does somebody who is a free agent at the end of this year, you can use them for a run at the postseason, but at the same time, you're not committed to him long term?
I think it's possible. It's really about what Bill DeWitt wants.
Really depends.
Because John Mozeliak works for DeWitt and the ownership, and how much of a stomach they have for, you know, making a deal like that. But I do think it's possible. Yes, I do. I think it's possible that they could add that kind of a piece, because quite honestly, those are the pieces that are going to be available, and it doesn't cost you an arm and a leg to get a rental, as previously noted with Ryan Helsley. Helsley will cost somebody if they were to deal him. I'm not sure that they do if they're a contender. But anyway, rentals typically don't cost as much as somebody under control.
You can probably make that deal happen. It's just, it's no longer the case where you have to give up your top prospects in order to get a rental player.
Right. If they make a deal, it's going to be for somebody who doesn't make an arm and a leg, right, or somebody who doesn't cost you a major prospect, because they have zero interest in giving up any major prospects to anybody.
Hey, Tom Ackerman, I think we need to find out what's really happening at City SC. They have fired their head coach. They haven't won in a couple of months. At least they have not won an MLS game in a couple of months. So I think we should talk to Taylor Twellman about this.
I agree. Sorry for the short call segment, but Taylor Twellman is waiting, folks. You don't want to go anywhere. Back in a moment.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-700-6898. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-700-6898. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-700-6898. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-700-6898 or biglou.com.
I really need funding to expand my inventory.
Swish Funding can help you expand inventory, upgrade equipment, and boost your cash flow.
Well, okay, but I need funding fast.
Swish Funding provides funding from $25,000 to $2 million with payment terms tailored to your needs and cash in your account in less than 24 hours.
So what's the catch?
No catch. If you've been in business for at least 1 year with monthly revenue of $50,000, you could qualify. Just go to swishfunding.com to apply. That's swishfunding.com.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
It worked for me, and I know it can work for you.
This is one student's experience. Individual results vary.
Right now, it is 70 degrees in St. Louis, and it is partly cloudy. We'll have a high today of 75. The weather is brought to you by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning and Electrical.
In the 70s, baseball player Jerry Kelly decided to do something different.
Thanks for calling Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
This year, the company Jerry started decided we'd do something different.
Thanks for calling Jerry Kelly Heating, Air, and Electrical.
And Electrical.
JerryKelly.com.
Home in St. Peter's? Don't miss the display grand opening of the Townsend Linneman, Saturday, June 7th from 12 to 5 p.m. Tour our brand new decorated display, enjoy appetizers, and enter our prize giveaway. Visit us and discover luxury 2 to 3 bedroom townhomes with 2-car attached garages and unparalleled community amenities, including a pool, pool house, dog park, and more. Plus, enjoy pre-construction pricing up to $25,000 off. Visit us just south of 364 west of Young Station Road. For more details, visit lombardohomes.com.
Hey guys, Glover here with my friend Mark Cantor at Cantor Injury Law. So as you know, I'm a lawyer, so I take this very seriously. Mark is a great attorney. He has a great team. He is from St. Louis. He is local. Call 314-628-9999 or visit cantorinjurylaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be solely based on advertisements.
Cards manager Ollie Marble joins the Gashouse Gang every Tuesday at noon. Sponsored by Siteman Cancer Center on the voice of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Just under the crossbar, and that'll do it. 1-0 the final. Colorado Rapids in Commerce City, Colorado defeat St. Louis City. Final score 1-0.
Welcome back to the Gashouse Gang with Chris Ranji. I'm Tom Ackerman. Just moments ago, St. Louis City SC called a news conference for tomorrow. It'll be 11:45 a.m. It will be featuring President and General Manager Diego Giuliani, Sporting Director Lutz Pfannenstiel. They will be discussing the departure of Olaf Melberg as head coach of City. Joining us on the line to talk about it is Taylor Twellman, the St. Louisan MLS MVP, Apple TV analyst, joining us on KMOX. It is always great to have you on the station. How are you?
Good. How are you guys?
Doing great, Taylor. Just your initial thoughts. You got the news last night, as we did. Olaf Melberg relieved of his duties, fired as coach of City. What did you think?
8 goals in 15 games. It's real simple. It's blunt. Not surprised. On the other hand, now the organization and the front office has to explain fourth coach in 2.5 years. And if they go find another one, it will be their 5th coach in less than 3 years. And so that's it. Listen, it's dire times. It hasn't been great since September 1st of 2023. They've won 24% of their games barely. It just hasn't been good enough.
They're not scoring enough, as you mentioned. They are giving up late goals. At least that's been a problem for the last, couple of months. And Berkey was, he was banged up a little bit through that too. How much of what has been happening in the last 2 months, Taylor, is because of coaching or because of the roster itself?
I don't think it's an either or, because if you asked me the last, 2.5, 3 months of the regular season last year, John Hackworth did I think it was just over 1.3 points per game. And that would have got them into the playoffs. Now you're asking someone that I don't judge success by, we got into the playoffs as an 8 or 9 seed. To me, that can't be the aspiration of your club. And if it is, then you've got to explain to your fans, well, we're not really trying to win anything. And I may be the wrong person to ask, but you either try to win or you don't. Now, in saying that, I don't think the roster I think it's a borderline playoff roster. I've said that now for almost 2 years. I think Hartle and Torshard have been good and solid players. They're not designated player level. Berkey's been the only player, if we're being honest about the team, since the opening year. He's been the only original signing that has lived up to it. And so I think it's both. I do think with better coaching, different coaching, I don't think this team's in the situation they're in, but I think we're being a little clouded in our judgment and assessment if we think all of a sudden they're the 3rd or 4th seed, because I just don't see that within this roster. I don't see it within the lack of academy players making it up. I don't see it, but I don't think it's either or. I think it's a culmination of both. And I also think it's right to say the injuries have been brutal. And I think that has to be assessed. There is something going on with the injury situation right now with St. Louis City, with how many injuries are happening within 48 hours of getting ready for a game. Now, Berkey's, that's flukish and that kind of thing, but the hamstrings and all this. So, as I said, it's not pretty. It's ugly.
It is. Taylor Twellman is with us. Just to go back a little bit, last summer, I was on vacation when I saw it come across my phone that Bradley Carnell had been let go. That, to me, was a surprise. I was like, wow, they really did it. Did it surprise you then?
It did, on the level of from the outside looking in. It did, just because, listen, Bradley Carnell outkicked his coverage. He completely outdid any level of expectation that first year. But if you recall, Tom, at the end of that first year, they really hit a wall and they limped into the playoffs. And I took a lot of heat from my St. Louis fans of saying that I predicted Sporting Kansas City would beat them. St. Louis City didn't look right. They haven't looked right since. And I go back to September 1st, 2023 was when the first signs showed that. However, they re-signed Bradley Carnell to a new deal. When they did that, I was like, oh, well, he's going to get at least a full second year. That's when I was very caught off guard of, wait a minute. One, is the direction changing? Two, what happened? But three, and this is what it surprised me about Olof Mellberg, and I covered Olof Mellberg as a player in the European Championships with Sweden. He tried to sign with Toronto when I was working at ESPN at the latter parts of his career, but I followed him as a manager. He's the opposite of what Bradley Carnell was. He's the opposite of what Lutz Pfannenstiel has been talking about. No high pressure, defend with numbers. When he started 6 center backs against Austin at home, a team that hates the ball as much as St. Louis does, guys, that was a red flag for me. And that's where I think the fans and I think everyone like myself on the outside are asking real questions. Where's the direction? Is the roster going to be good enough? Will the players give them a reaction? Is there a culture issue? What is going on there? Because Olof Mellberg is unequivocally 180 degrees different than anything Lutz and Bradley Carnell talked about when they took over in starting St. Louis City, and yet here we are.
So I mentioned the roster to you, asking, how much of it is that? And I can't help but notice that this team has not, in terms of payroll, they've not spent a considerable amount of money compared to what other teams in the league have done. How much is that holding them back? I realize that money's not everything, but it has to have at least something to do with it.
It's a great question. I'm going to rephrase what you said. It's not the payroll, because if you go just by the salaries, St. Louis City's not at the bottom. It's the acquisition fees. It's the players they're signing. It's the diversity of the roster. Those are all legitimate questions. Because when you study Major League Soccer for now 30 years, you see the teams that are successful. There is 100% a South American influence. There's 100% that a middle-tier, middle-club European player hasn't always worked out. But they have not spent a ton of money on acquiring players. That's a fact. And so, absolutely, if you're going to try to win, again, if you're trying to just make the playoffs as an 8 or 9 seed, then this probably is the formula. I would say a little bit more spent on acquiring players. But I just did a game last weekend where both teams, Atlanta and Cincinnati, combined spent $95 million in acquiring players in the last 3 transfer windows. That is what is called trying to win and going after it. Now, the rebuttal to what I'm saying is there's not a direct correlation, for lack of a better word, of spending a ton of money and winning. But I will tell you now, in MLS, especially over the last 6 years, you cannot not spend and win. So you've got to be somewhere in the middle. Atlanta United is extremely frustrated with how their season's gone after spending $52 million. However, Cincinnati goes out and spends 30-some-odd million dollars, and I think they're the favorite in the Eastern Conference because there's a real balance to their team between having American in known quantities and also having high-level DP players. Yeah, St. Louis City has to spend money, and they got to sign the right players, and that goes back to my original point. This team, at best, is a middling 7, 8, 9 seed team, playoff roster-wise. That's it. Nothing more.
They're also going to make David Critchley available tomorrow. He'll talk to the media after the press conference, or during the press conference, I would imagine. He's the City 2 coach, Taylor. He was deeply involved in the academy when they made him a coach. Gosh, that was a few years ago now. He's been with them.
Yeah, let me ask you guys a question. John Hackworth's still there, correct?
Yeah.
That would be my first question at the press conference. And I think Critchley's done a fantastic job. And he's been instrumental in that MLS Next Pro team, the academy team, and I think he's got a real high upside in being the manager. But my man David Critchley is now taking over a job that they have said, the front office and the ownership, that playoffs are bust. And yet his experience level of dealing with this player is what? The first thing I would have done is convince John Hackworth, we need you. Let's see what you got.
Does he want that job?
He's been the custodian. He wanted it desperately last year, and they went Olaf Melberg's way. You see what I'm getting at, guys. You just don't want to pile on and make bad decision after bad decision. David Critchley could be a fantastic decision, but I know they're calling around asking for other people and looking to hire new coaches. That's where my question is. That's where my critique is. That's where my analysis is. John Hackworth, based on what he did last year, would have got you as I think an 8 seed. My math could be correct, could be a 7, whatever. It doesn't matter. But my point is he's in the building. Yes. So is Critchley, and that's a rebuttal. But now you got John Hackworth coaching MLS Next Pro, and you got Critchley coming up. Those are, again, my questions. That's why I raised the question. That's why at the press conference, those questions should be asked. Because I think I don't know those answers. And you guys know me well enough. If I don't know the answers, I'm following everything pretty closely. That becomes interesting to me.
It is very. This is Taylor Twellman, who's as good as it gets when it comes to soccer analysis. The technical director, John Hackworth, and now the caretaker manager is the title currently for David Critchley. Before we let you go, and so kind of you to respond and do this on KMOX as you always do, how are things going for you this year? Apple TV, give it to us. Are you having some fun?
Yeah, I'm literally on my way to Connecticut. I'll be in studio for about 9 hours tonight. So, the viewer will have about 8 hours and 45 minutes of me before they turn it off and hit mute or whatever it is. But should be fun. It's been good.
And congrats on, I was there in the house that day, the Missouri Sports Hall of Fame. I know that meant a lot to you.
It did, Tom. I will tell you guys, I graduated college last week, so I went back and finished my degree. I promised both of my grandmas that I would get it done. I didn't give them a time, but yeah, I brought my 2 girls with me. I walked. Kermit was the commencement speech. So needless to say, I finally got it done.
That's right, because Jim Henson went to Maryland. I heard that story. Yeah, Kermit brought
Yeah,
the house
it
down.
was Kermit's 70th birthday, and I was only asked 75 times if I was faculty, which I had to remind everyone, no, I am Van Wilder and Tommy Boy. So there you go.
That is hurtful.
You're
That's
the
hurtful.
man. Always great to hear you, Taylor. Thanks for coming back to KMOX.
No problem, guys. Be good.
Appreciate you. Taylor Twellman with us on
He's great,
the
man.
Gashouse Gang. He's awesome. He always tells it like it is, and that was a very strong analysis, and it's going to be an interesting day tomorrow, and there will be a lot of great questions, I'm sure, right out of the gate for Lutz and Diego.
Texter asked this question: how long will it be before City starts to lose fan support? And I think it is a good question. I mean, if it stays like this for a while, middle of next year? There are just so many people who were desperate for this team to be here in the first place and are willing to ride it out for a while. So I think it's at some point, maybe not this year, maybe next year, if it gets off to a similar start and it's looking like this, then you might start to see it. But people have been so supportive in this city of that team.
They all have a shelf life, so to speak. But the thing about it is, and yes, you've seen some of the U.S. Open Cup and some other non-MLS competitions not draw very well, but the stadium is still a star.
Right.
It's in a great spot. The amenities are outstanding. The food's great. The people are great. It's a fun place to be. It's still cool to go to the games. But yeah, eventually the product has to be up to par, and they know that. And I think that they are, Lutz said it on KMOX. He said, I'm embarrassed by the way things are going. And it has led to this dismissal of Mellberg, but there's more. It's deeper. It's an organizational thing where they have got to figure this out, figure out what the formula is to get themselves into a position to compete for the playoffs, because they are far from it right now.
That's Tom Ackerman. This show is the Gashouse Gang, and it is sponsored by Saliga Heating and Cooling. SaligaHeatingandCooling.com with you till 1 o'clock on the Gashouse Gang.
When you want a brand new kitchen, there's nothing to it. There's a brand new way to do it. 3-Day Kitchen and Bath.
Jerry Adler had their kitchen remodeled by 3-Day Kitchen and Bath and talks about the experience.
If we had only met Darren when we started doing this construction, I would have been a lot happier girl than I am now. My husband, when he heard the 3-Day Kitchen and Bath would be in 3 days and out in 3 days, did not believe me.
Did he change his mind?
When he saw that 3-Day Kitchen and Bath came in and was gone in 3 days, he found that was the best experience we have had. Darren worked with us on our budget so that we could have the kitchen we needed without feeling like we were completely out of our league. They were professional, cared about the other part of the house. The work is beautiful. I wanted to give them the biggest hug ever.
Top quality materials and workmanship. 3-Day Kitchen and Bath. On the web at 3daykitchen.com.
When disaster strikes, the Urban League of Metropolitan St. Louis is there. Tornadoes have left families displaced and communities in crisis, but you can help. The Urban League Tornado Disaster Relief Humanitarian Fund provides emergency shelter, food, clothing, and critical support to those affected. Your donation brings hope when it's needed most. Visit ulstl.com to donate. That's ulstl.com. Stand with us. Stand for St. Louis.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at LanceDruryLaw.com.
Here's a few questions for you from California Psychics. Do your workdays seem to go on forever? Is your career progression as fast as downtown traffic? Or does your boss still not know your name?
Hey, you, Tina, Lisa, Sheila, whatever. Get that report to me by lunch, okay? It's Terry, ma'am. Just get it done, Terry.
It's time to read the career warning signs and talk to California Psychics. We're always on hand to give you the career guidance you need. You see, we only connect you with the very best. In fact, 98% of the psychics who apply to work with us don't make the grade. That's why we can guarantee if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free. So you could soon be telling your boss where to stick that report.
Where are you going, Terry? Terry!
Experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics. Call 1-800-PREDICT today and get 20 minutes for just $20.
Hey guys, Glover here with my friends at Michael's Baths. So, as you know, it's such a great deal. If you've been looking at other companies like Bath Fitter or 3 Day Kitchen and Bath, Mike does it local. He does it family. He's been doing nothing but bathrooms for 30 years now. And while many companies are raising prices due to tariff uncertainty, Michael's Baths is doing the opposite. They're offering $500 off any shower or tub replacement and $1,000 off a full bathroom remodel, turning market challenges into savings for their customers. 636-775-0800, michaelsbaths.com.
Hey, it's Matt Pauley telling you about i3 Broadband. You've heard me talk about them. They provide the internet in my home. I love them so much. The reliability is great. Let's talk about price for a moment, though. They've got an introductory rate at $19.99 a month for one of their service options. No bundle ever required. You're going to save $10 a month over the cable company. They've got great pricing on all of their different packages, going up to 8 gigs upload and download speed, always mirrored. See if they're available in your neighborhood. Put your address in at i3broadband.com.
Hey, this is Charlie Brennan. Have you noticed loose bricks or missing mortar around your house, on the walls, the patios, the walkways, the porch, or the chimneys? If so, you need to call Morelli Tuck Pointing. 314-645-1387. You might need one of two things: solid tuck pointing, the removal of old mortar with the replacement of new mortar throughout an entire wall or chimney, or maybe just spot tuck pointing. Spot tuck pointing involves the tuck pointing of a particular wall, a chimney, or other masonry surface in an area where it's needed the most. One example might be settlement cracks, usually found above or below windows or doorways. 314-645-1387. Call the company that the Brennans have called when we've needed tuck pointing. Morelli Tuck Pointing, the masonry specialists. Winner of the Angie's List Super Service Award every year since 2005. 314-645-1387, MorelliTuckPointing.com.
Now, back to the Gashouse Gang on your home of the St. Louis Cardinals. 1120 AM, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Tom Ackerman, Chris Ranji for the next few moments. We're with you on the Gashouse Gang every weekday from 12 until 1. Spend some time talking City SC. They are looking for a new head coach. They fired Olaf Melberg, and the press conference tomorrow at 11:45, as Tom mentioned. Also spent quite a bit of time talking about the Redbirds, who have been playing really good baseball, having won 17 of their last 22 ball games. And hopefully tonight there's going to be baseball in Baltimore. 5:35 first pitch. The pregame is at 4:40 here on KMOX. Jim is watching us, the Gashouse Gang, on Facebook and says in the NL Central, it is everyone but the Pirates. They're 500 and above. It only takes a 5-game winning or losing streak in the division to shake things up. He's not wrong. I mean, I think the conversation we had earlier about the Brewers, maybe this being the year they hit the wall, finally, because they haven't done it for the last several years. That's more of a projection thing. And that's true. If Milwaukee goes on a run here, they're right back in it with everybody else. And they're in second place, maybe even leading the division. But something about that team right now just doesn't feel right. And I don't know that they figure it out before the year's over. And I think you might be right, Tom. Cincinnati might be a bigger threat to the Cardinals than what the Brewers are.
Yeah, we're about to find out a lot because Cincinnati's getting into the NL Central schedule here. So they're going to play the Royals one more time today. They just took the first 2 of that series in Kansas City. They play them today at 6:40. And then this weekend, they go to Wrigley. They're playing there Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And then the Brewers come to Cincinnati. So we're about to learn a lot about the Cincinnati Reds and what they might be able to accomplish. And I agree to an extent. I think that it can change very quickly. I think at the moment, the way I look at the National League and really all of these divisions is who's 5 games over 500 or better. If you're 500, you're not a player right now. If you're 5 games over 500 or better, you're feeling good about yourself. That's what it's all about. 5 and then 10 games over 500 separates the elites. The Cubs are in that elite category. They're 13 games over. Cardinals are 7 over. Reds and Brewers are at 500. So the real players right now are Cubs, Cardinals, Phillies, Mets, Dodgers, Padres, Giants. Those are the teams right now in the National League that are contenders. The rest of the teams have got a lot of work to do to catch up. The Diamondbacks were, for a moment, and then they got stomped by everybody, including the Cardinals, knocked out of here and swept. Even though they were 1-run games, they still lost them. In the American League, those players are Yankees, Tigers, Twins are 6 games over 500. They're in it. The Seattle Mariners and the Astros, if they can get one here, they've now won 3 in a row. They're 4 games over 500, but that's it. The Guardians, even though they lost 3 in a row, are still 4 games over. But yeah, it's an interesting time of year. You're going to have June for the Cardinals will be fascinating. And again, the Cardinals 19-8 at home without the crowd. I mean, I wonder how comfortable they will be if they love playing at Busch Stadium. What are they like with the crowd on their side, who they have admitted gives them an extra boost? So yeah, it's going to be a good run there. And it's a good comment there by Jim, and correct that everybody but the Pirates right now is a player to some extent.
Here's what I'll say about Cincinnati. One thing I do like to look at, even though we're only 2 months in, I think there's enough here to pay attention to it. And when I see a team with a pretty positive run differential like they have, where they are scoring more runs than they are giving up, and they're still only 500, that indicates to me that the winning is probably it's almost about to arrive, right? It just hasn't happened yet, because it's not very often you can be scoring more runs than you're giving up, but you're only at 500 or maybe a game under 500. It doesn't feel like that record's going to stay that way for very long. So that is one thing that I look at with them. They've also been 500 against good teams this year. The at or above 500 teams, the opponents they faced who are good, they've done pretty well. They've held their own against teams like that. That's the other thing that makes me pay attention to them.
Yeah.
Those are, to me, are indicators that they could be on the verge, maybe not taking off where they're going to run away with anything, but being a whole lot more dangerous than they have been so far.
And if I'm a Cubs fan, I'm feeling really good about my team, but I'm concerned about one thing in particular. They don't have a closer. They have not settled on a closer.
That's right. Their bullpen,
their bullpen is not great. They now have 7 different pitchers have recorded at least a save, and their leader has 4 saves. So it has not been very good on that side. They haven't settled on one. The Cardinals have one. And if you have one and you have a good one, you got a chance.
So here's what you have. If you're a team like the Cubs with a bullpen that is a bit suspect, you better mash. And that's what they have been doing. Mash. So can they keep doing that all year? I don't know, but so far they've been able to do it. You mentioned this the other day. They got a couple of MVP types in their lineup right now. That could be enough to carry them for a while, but it could just be that late in the season, a couple of really important games get away from them late. And then that could be the difference. It could be. If we're wanting to look at this positively, that could be it.
Currently in Baltimore, it is still, just rainy. And so we just don't know the answer right now as to what's going to happen in Baltimore, Maryland, but we'll keep an eye on it. It is raining and 57 degrees, supposed to rain for much of the day.
All right, well, we'll see what happens. Hopefully they get a game in tonight or tomorrow, but they'll try to win the series. 4:40 pregame, 5:35 first pitch. Tom Ackerman, we'll see you Monday. My guy.
See you, buddy.
That's Tom Ackerman. I'm Chris Ranji. Coming up next is the Dave Glover Show. Anything you missed? Right here on the Odyssey app, or you can find us on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter. Just search the Gashouse Gang.
Welcome to Willie's Wings, home of the secret sauce.
I'll take